So in that last demo, you saw a little bit how the inheritance hierarchy works with securable objects in SharePoint. And you can see by this diagram, the security is inherited at every level of the tree. So from the site collection all the way down to a list item in a list, unless the inheritance is broken, then you're going to get the same type of permission level at every single level down, from the site collection down to the site, down to a list, down to a list item. You have the option of breaking inheritance at any of those levels. So if you want to break inheritance at the site level, you can do that. You can break it at the list level or library, which library is basically a list, all the way down to the item level. Sometimes if you're breaking inheritance at the subsite level, might be better just to create a second site collection. It just depends. Lots of different factors there. Sometimes when you have a different site collection, it's harder to aggregate content, but now in SharePoint 2013 you can use search, so that'll span across site collections, but you'll have a little bit of a delay because you have to wait for the indexer to crawl through your content. So lots of little choices there. But one reason why you may want to do that is if the new permissions increase access to simulate site ownership. So in that case, maybe it's a good idea. So each of the classes that are in these boxes, or actually each of the boxes in this diagram, are backed by a class like SP-Site or SP-Web or SP-List, SP-List item. They all implement the iSecurable Object Interface. And that interface requires the implementation of break role inheritance method. And so that method, again, that's for SP-Web, SP-List, SP-List item. So if you call that method and you pass in true, you're going to get all the role assignments from the parent. So just like when we did that in the UI for our pictures library, we broke inheritance, but we still kept all of the original role assignments from the parent. You still saw the test site collection visitors, test site collection members, all those groups and role assignments were still there because they got copied. But if you don't want that to happen, you can pass in false, and that will break the role inheritance, and you won't have any assignments at all from the parent. So sometimes when people are trying to set it, programmatically set a unique set of permissions on an object, they sometimes forget that, and they'll just pass in true, or not pass anything at all because the default is true. When they do that, then they realize that all the role assignments got copied from the parent. So if you don't want that to happen, you may have to make sure you set it to false. So what we're going to do now is look at using the break role inheritance method. So we'll take a look at that in some code that we're going to do. Okay, in this demo, I'm going to use the same console application that we've been using, and we're going to create a new role definition or permission level, and we're going to, I've already created a new list called tasks, and it's a task list. And so the idea is we want to prevent a user from deleting tasks to which they are assigned, but still let them edit their task. So they can edit their task, update status, whatever, but they can't delete it. So this code is going to use break role inheritance at the SP list item level to do that. So it'll prevent anyone other than the site collection administrator and whoever got assigned the task from viewing or editing the task. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to create a method here. So, whoops, you want that? Okay. Type it in the wrong place. Let's make sure I'm out of the method. There we go. Okay. So we're going to create a method called createTask. It's going to return an SP list item, which is going to represent a task in the task list. Okay. Okay, we get a handle on the tasks list, and then we'll create a list item. Okay, that's good. And then we'll set that title of the task. Let's call it your new task. Whoops. That's the value. We're going to set the title field to that. There we go. So setting the title of the task. And then we also need to set the assigned to field. So we're going to get a hold of our user. We're going to use our same user we've been using, Alice. So we can call web.ensureUser, and that'll return the instance of our user. Okay, now SP field user value. Okay, we're going to create an instance of SP field user value here, and we're going to use the assigned to field. We're going to assign this value to the value of the SP field user value of Alice to the assigned to the new task. So task, we'll set the assigned to field equal to Alice. Okay, then of course we have to make sure that we update the task, and then we have to return it. Okay, now I'm going to comment out. Actually, I can probably leave this code here, but now I'm just going to comment it out. I don't need any of this code, so we'll just get rid of it for now. And I'm just going to call our method is what I'm going to do. Okay, so now if there we go. So if I run this right now, it should create a task. So let's go to the site. Let's just check out here's our tasks list. There are no items in the list yet. So close this. Let's run this. Actually, comment this out as well too. Don't really need that. Okay, well, that looks like it completed, so let's go back in, go to our tasks list, and sure enough, we have our new task, and it's assigned to Alice. So that's exactly what we want. Now what we want to do is we're going to create another method. So we created the task. Now we need to create the task assignee role. So we're going to create a new role definition here. Okay. Create SP role definition. And then we'll set the name of that. We'll call it task assignee. Oops. Okay. And then we'll set a description on it. And say you can fill in your task data, but can't delete a task. Okay, now what we need to do, so we have our role definition, but we need to assign base permissions. What can this role do? And we're going to use, so this enum can be ORed together. So we'll say, okay, you can view list items, and you can edit list items. That's good. We want them to be able to view and edit their task. You have to be able to open it. So we'll say open. And then last of all, be able to view pages so they can navigate to the task. Okay. And let's just make that a little bit cleaner here. It looks a little bit better. And then we need to, so we've created the role definition, but we need to add it to the list of role definitions for our web. So now we'll go back up to our main method. I'm going to comment out this method because we already have our task created. And we'll just say create a task, assignee role, pass in the web. So we'll just go ahead and run this. Okay, that looks like that ran correctly. So now I'm going to go into the site, go to site settings, site permissions, and we'll go to permission levels. And here's our new permission level that we just added. Task assignee. You can fill in task data but can't delete a task. So we'll just click on that. And notice here's our permissions that we gave it. This is what we're saying you're allowed to do. This role is allowed to do edit, view, edit items, view items, view pages, and then open a website, a list, or a folder so they can access the items in the container. That's it. Okay, so now we've created that, but now we need to set the permission on our list item. So we're going to create another method here. we'll just call it set permission. And we're going to pass in basically the task, the list item representing the task. So this is where we're going to break role inheritance. So first thing we're going to do is say task dot break role inheritance. Now we don't want any of those role assignments copied, so I'm going to pass in false. Actually, I think false may be the default there. Let me just take a look. I guess there is no... I was thinking we may be able to see some comments there, but I'm not sure. So I'm not sure what the default is, but we're going to pass in false. So we don't want to copy the parent values. Okay, so now let's get a hold of the SP field user value. We get a hold of our user. Task owner, it's going to be whoever is assigned, whoever is set in the assigned to field. So we'll say new SP field user value. We'll use for the web, we can get to that from the list item, so list item.web. And the field value is task assigned to. Okay. This is still an object. It needs to be a string. So we'll cast it as a string. There we go. Okay. The indexer for the list item returns an object. We need it to be a string. So we know it's a string. We'll just cast it. Okay, so now got the task owner. Now we need to make that role assignment for the list item. Whoops. Task owner.user, since it's expecting an SP principal and the SP user class is a principal. Okay, and then take that assignment. So we've assigned our user that role, and now we need to bind that role definition to that assignment. So we're going to add a binding. We're going to add web.role definitions. Whoops. Task.web.role definitions. So we'll use the role that we created before, which is task assign E. Okay, so we assigned our user to the role, and then we had to bind the role definition to this assignment. Because right now, with the assignment without the role definition bound is just nothing. So we have to assign it one of the definitions. And then the last thing we need to do is for our list item, we need to set the role assignments. We need to add the role assignment we just created. So that finishes it off. So that basically is we're breaking role inheritance on the list item. Then we're getting an instance of the task owner, the user, create an assignment for the user. Then we have to bind the assignment to the task assignee role definition, and then we add that assignment to the role assignments for that list item. So now that list item has only that one level. So now what we're going to do is let's modify our main. So we don't want to create task assignment anymore. But we do want to create, we'll create the task again. So I'm going to uncomment that because we need the task, even though it's already there. We'll just go ahead and delete it. And I'll call set permission. Set permission on the task. So I'm going to go back into the site. I'm just going to delete that task. We'll just do it this way. Okay, task is deleted, so we can create the task again and then set the permissions on it. So let's go ahead and run this. Okay, that looks like it completed properly. Oh, no it did not. Field user value collection to type string. Oh, okay. So I did a bad cast here. Okay. That's fine. So let's just do this. SP field user value collection. That's fine. Okay. Okay. Here's what we're going to do here. And it's task assigned to. Okay, and then actually, I'm gonna see if I can get out of here. I just want the raw value. So what I can actually do here, let me get out. I'm gonna get rid of this, and I'm going to, instead of casting, I'm just gonna call toString on this. See if that works. Okay, so now I need to go back to the site. I'm gonna delete the task again. Okay, it's deleted. Let's try this again. I'll put a breakpoint here just in case. So let's run this. Let's see if this will create our SP field user value. We'll see what comes out of the task assigned to field. Okay, if I look at this, okay, good. So it did assign Al Smith. So that's what we wanted. Okay, so let's just keep running this. Create the role assignment, do the binding, and then we'll set the that task or that role assignment. We're going to add that role assignment to the list item. Okay, so let's go back to our site. Go to site settings. Let's go back to permissions again. Site permissions. And notice how we're getting this. We should see this message. Some content on the site has different permissions because we broke inheritance on our picture library. But also what we should see is here's pictures. And then we also have tasks right here. So if I go to view the exceptions here, it's just that one list item, so your new task. So that's good. That's what we wanted to see. And if we go back, let's look at the if I manage the permissions on that. So Alice has the task assignee permission on that, just that one list item for that task. So that's exactly what we wanted. And then I have full control because I'm a site collection administrator. So that's exactly what we wanted to happen there. And that will prevent, so Alice can log in and try to, she can change that, but she won't be able to delete it. So let's just test that real quick. Let's log in as Alice. And we'll go. Alice might not be able to she might not be able to go to that task. Well, we'll see. We'll see if I can. May have to copy that URL. Okay. Password. So this may not work. Oh, I did. Okay. Oh, because we gave Alice permission to open it up. So she can read that. So we can view this task and we can edit it. So I can click edit item, that'll work. I'll just say 20% complete. We can save it. Go back. Last modified by Alice Smith. Okay, that's good. But notice how delete item is grayed out right here. She can't delete it. Even from here, if I go click on this, I can view item, edit item, but there's no delete item. Which when I was logged in as Site Collection Administrator, you saw me delete the task a few times. So that's exactly what we wanted to have happen. We wanted Alice to be able to open her task, edit it, save it, but not be able to delete it. So that's exactly how you would accomplish that using code using break role inheritance at the list item level in SharePoint 2013.